Okay, here's an example for graphing a tangent function and with a couple of transformations involved. So let's take a look at some of the pieces and we'll apply it to our graph and we'll graph it. The things I'm looking for, just like with sines and cosines, I'm looking for an A, a B, a C, and a D. Right now, I don't see an A, so that anchor point distance is going to be 1. That's kind of analogous to my amplitude, but it's not an amplitude, so I'm not going to call it the amplitude. We'll call it an anchor point distance. The next thing that I have here, I've no B value, so B is going to equal 1, so that means that the period equals pi. That also means that my key x interval will equal pi over 4. I do have a C value of pi over 4, so that means that my phase shift is going to be to the right by pi over 4, since I'm subtracting pi over 4. And then finally, I've got a midline of y equals 1. Okay, so now I have the pieces that I need. I'm going to first start with my starting point. Kind of sounds appropriate. And let's put that down on the graph. So I'm shifting to the right pi over 4 and up 1. So normally I'm at 0, 0, and I'm going to shift to the right pi over 4 and up 1. That is my starting point. The next thing that I'll do in my pattern, if I look back at how the tangent function works, I'm going to go over one key interval value and then up my anchor point distance. So my key interval is pi over 4, so I'm going to add a pi over 4 and go up by my anchor point distance. So that's 1. Moving in the left direction, I'm going to do the exact opposite. So I'm going to move to the left one key interval and down my anchor point. And then the next key interval over will be where my asymptote is. So that means that over at negative pi over 4, I'll have an asymptote here. That means if I'm moving to the right, the next key x interval here, or next key x value, will be another asymptote. And then I can sort of repeat that pattern. So I have my lower anchor point, my center, and my upper anchor point. Moving to the left, I've got my upper anchor point, my center, my lower anchor point, and then another asymptote. So let's put all that together. All right, so here's our graph. We have all the distinct characteristics. We've got the center point, the anchor points, the asymptotes. That's really all that there is to this. Why don't you try this example here? We've got a couple different transformations, but hopefully you can handle them based upon what we talked about earlier. Pause the video, give this one a shot, and see how it goes. All right, so here is my solution. Hopefully it went okay for you. Really, there's only 2 transformations in this example. We are stretching this thing vertically, and we are actually stretching this thing horizontally as well. So the key change here is my period has become 2 pi, which makes those key intervals pi over 2. So this one, the graph looks something like what we have here. It's stretched. It's kind of tricky to draw with all the stretches, but hopefully it looks something like this. One thing to note is if I had a negative a value, just like before, I would be reflecting this, and it would be the exact same picture, but flipped upside down. So hopefully this went all right.